Have you ever had one of those days where it just seems like everything goes right fishing, where, even when you make a bad cast, either you get the fish, no tangles, just no issues. Well, this was one of those days. I hit the water at about 11, and by 11:30, I spotted my first two fish. By the time I got the drone up, the first fish had moved a little too tight. I couldn't make a good cast for it. You see, when I first put it over it, it immediately spooked. So I cast to the fish just behind it. So first cast out to him, cast just past, drag and drop, pulled it over in front of him. He charged a couple inches, ate it, set the hook, and we're on. In about a half an hour, I was into my first fish. And this is just the beginning. It just gets better and better as the day goes on. This is one of those days where even when I was getting a fish landed, I was already kind of looking for where am I going next. So solid fish here, and there's the release. So the next fish I ran into, there's actually a couple feeding up to the left here that I had positioned for. But once I got the drone in the air and I was getting ready to cast to the ones up to the left, I saw this guy real tight into the right. And well, you'll notice how I kind of cast and use my rod. See how far to the side it's pointing? So when I cast out, I'm going to use my rod tip to position that and get that in front of the fish. So again, same kind of thing. I cast to the right, pulled it over using my rod tip to extend my reach and be able to drag that over into the dinner plate. Dropped it down in. They immediately hit it, and we're on again. But that's something that it's one of those things that's hard to explain. But what you'll see it a lot in this when I cast, I use my rod tip to control where that fly is moving. So it's not just about casting, right? I mean, you need to make a reasonable cast, but then on top of that, you're going to use your rod tip to control the drag to make sure it's in another good spot. So 12:07, spotted another little pot of fish. This area is a little muddy, but you can see them in there. Actually, again, this is one of those that first good cast across him, he ate, and we're on again. So this is less than an hour, and I'm into 3 fish already. Now, I've had faster days, sure, but this is pretty fantastic. And keep in mind that in between each of these shots, I'm sending my drone back up, getting it into position. So great mirror here. And most of these fish were in the 7 to 10 pound range. So 12:18. So I put my drone up and the gimbal was stuck, so I couldn't get an above shot. So I was only able to get the behind shot here. But this guy was super tight here. You saw it there. First cast, set the drone down. First cast over, drag, drop. He ate it. So 4th fish. And again, we're an hour and 20 minutes essentially in. And, we're already up to maybe 35, 40 pounds of fish. It's a pretty good afternoon so far. All right, so the next one, 12:43. Okay, I spotted a couple here. There was one in particular. Now, this fish is kind of moving the wrong direction from me, you'll notice on that. But because of the way the wind was blowing, it was creating a little bit of an arc there. So I actually cast it so that the fly ended up on his right side. My fly line was on the left. And so as it swung across in front of him, it actually kind of pulled it away from him on that drag and drop. Now, again, these are like those subtle little things that, one, they don't always work, and 2, they're difficult. It's hard to explain. All right, so that was number 5. On to number 6 fish here. Again, this is a little bit hard to see, but he's down in there. There was a couple actually over here. Drag and drop. I kind of actually jigged it just a little bit, again, using my rod tip to keep moving that fly until I saw him, and I, from where I was seeing, I could actually see the fly and then the lips open when he sucked that fly in. Set the hook again, and quick fight, get him in. Another good fish. Released him, and we are on. That was number 6. Now we're on to number 7. So 146, that's probably the biggest gap here. It's 146 now. There was a couple feeding right along the bank here. Now the first cast, I actually put it just a little bit too far, and it ended up getting up onto the bank. Second cast, I was able to get it just short of the bank, pull it in front of him there. You see him come up. You saw his lips open. He eats it. And once again, we're on. That one was super visual. For me, it was, clear as can be when he came up and he ate it. And then you can see a couple other fish there that we spooked out of the area. when we were fighting this one. But again, so what? That's 7. Crap, I don't even know. I'm already starting to lose count again. But we're still not even 3 hours into the day, and the fish just keep coming. Well, like I said, this day was just incredible, and it just kept getting better and better. And this fish was one of the prettier fish I caught. Just a really healthy little mirror. Hopefully find him again another day. I debated about showing more of this sequence here, but so I originally spotted the cloud here for this one. And what you don't actually see here is right here, he actually hit my fly right there. He hit it. And I pulled and I didn't get him, so he started coming my way, and I immediately did the drag and drop again here, which I've talked about in some of my other videos, how sometimes that'll happen. You know, they'll try to eat it. You set. Usually if you fill him, that's the end of it. I didn't fill him. I immediately got it back above him, dragged it, and dropped it. Just good cast, dropped it in, and he ate it. And I'm never sure exactly how much of these fights to include on these videos. I've had people get mad at me because I don't show the fights, so I try to include it, but I don't want it to make it last too long. So healthy fish here. That one was pushing 10 pounds. So 241. This is fish number 9. All right, there was 3 or 4 right here. Actually, this one was really cool. It was real similar to the one I talked about before, where I cast it out past him. And then when I pulled to the right, like away from him, so that when that drag happened, it somewhat pulled it away, like in front of him and then away. What we don't want is we don't want the fly moving directly towards the fish. But what this kind of made it look like is this fly was coming towards it and then trying to swim to escape. Like whatever this bug was that this fish was eating, spotted the fish, and now it's trying to flee. And if we can get that motion, a lot of times that will trigger a strike. So another healthy fish here. Yeah, awesome. Just good fish. Fun day. So 317, 10, I think 10. I don't know. All right, so spotted another couple right here. This area, there were several in the area. And I originally was going for those 2 that were up to the right here, but then this guy kind of popped up to the right of me. I didn't actually cast out to them. First cast over him, another drag and drop. And again, if you watch the rod tip, right, when I make the cast, there was a pretty strong crosswind. Most of the day was more than 10 miles per hour. You can see it there. This is in a very wide area, and you'll see how the waves are there. Now, obviously, these aren't big waves, but this is pretty narrow. So a lot of times, you make a good cast, but then you got to keep in mind, where's my line at, and then use your rod tip to get it in good position. So again here, spotted the cloud here. This is awesome because he's coming straight towards me. He didn't get it on the first cast, so I put it back out across him, slightly across, drug it over, dropped it into him. And then you see him turn and chase there. Now, they're not always that aggressive. Obviously, it's awesome when they are, but that is a little bit of a rarity when a carp will turn and chase that far. But again, like I said, this was just a crazy day where it just seemed like everything I did worked out so incredibly well. So I think that was 11, maybe? I don't know. Again, I can't remember. So here's another one. Spotted the cloud again on this one, and you can see another one back behind him in there. Cast out, drag and drop here. You see the cast was 5 or 6 feet past him, bring it over, dropped it in. See again there where he chased it down. Doesn't always work that way. It just seemed like no matter what I did on this day, everything just worked out so incredibly well. And it was just constant action from the moment I got there until I finished up. Just an absolutely incredible day. Another solid fish here, put his fin up for us, so we had a good picture. All right, and this 358, this next one was another one it's a pretty cool sequence. So he actually eats right here. Boom, turns, eats. I kind of pulled it just a little bit, but it popped out of his mouth. He didn't come at it like I was hoping. So I put it back across him, dropped it back in again. There he goes, turns and eats it again. Again, just one of those days. I mean, how often do you get multiple shots? Now, I catch a lot of fish, and so I do get these multiple shots from the same fish from time to time. But I couldn't do anything wrong today. And so now we're 5 hours into the day, 12 fish. We're up over 100 pounds of fish at this point. And then, my drones are starting to get really short of batteries. So here's another couple fish I spotted. Now, typically when I see a pot of fish or a couple fish like this, I'm usually going to try to wait for the best fish to give me a good shot, a good presentation. Well, fortunately, the best fish was the one that was slightly tilted for me, towards me, closer to me, tilted the right direction. So you saw it there, cast it out, drag and drop, he eats it. The day was just great. Couldn't do any wrong, and just kept getting fish after fish after fish all day long. So 4:37, so we're a little over 5.5 hours now. I think that was 13, this is 14. This is another cool one where the fish is facing away from me, but again, because of the way I kind of kept my rod tip way far forward, I could kind of jig it across in front of him, kind of the drag and drop, dropped it in on him, and he inhaled it as it came down. Now that one I brought in real tight to him, but it was that same kind of thing where I got my rod tip way out to the right to get him to eat there. So there's 4:55, my drone's dead. 5:15, again, my drone's dead, but the fishing was great, so I just kept going. But that's it, guys. Just a fantastic day.